If there is such a thing as teachers' intuition regarding student learning styles and engagement, Lincoln Elementary School parents claim Jill Roberts has that ability. The parent letters of support of Mrs. Roberts' nomination for Outstanding Teacher Mentor tell that she has inspired their first grade children as readers, researchers, and communicators. With recent certification of Lincoln Elementary as an International Baccalaureate Primary Years Program school, Mrs. Roberts and the school staff have worked hard to incorporate the learner profile characteristics of IB into their lessons. In their nomination, parents said that Mrs. Roberts lives these IB characteristics. She's an inquirer, a thinker, a communicator, a risk taker, and is knowledgeable, principled, caring, balanced, reflective, and open-minded. The first grade year is a significant one in building confidence in the lives of students. The nominations cited individual instances where Mrs. Roberts made the learning light bulb illuminate within their child. Once they're hooked, she then gives the students the confidence to express their discoveries and convey their knowledge. Most of all, she gives the students the chance to explore subjects by using differentiated teaching techniques that recognize the talent of each child. One parent offered a letter of support. Mrs. Roberts recognizes that each child has a different talent or area they excel in. She encourages them to explore and exceed their own expectations. She is especially gifted in helping students develop communication skills through thoughts, reasonings, and reflections. She is well known for developing a rapport with each child and family, even attending activities outside of school to show her support. Another parent says, Mrs. Roberts uses technology to capture photos of moments that we as working parents cannot see firsthand. She not only loves and cares for her students, but she really loves parents as well. Mrs. Roberts has been a teacher for 26 years and joined the Adrian Public Schools teaching staff as a long-term sub at Garfield School in 2003. She taught first grade at Lincoln for 9 years, and this year moves to a new assignment at Lincoln School teaching third grade. She holds a Bachelor of Science degree in elementary education from Eastern Illinois University, and she has a Master's in Education, Curriculum, and Instruction from Olivet Nazarene University, and her Specialist of Arts Educational Leadership is from Siena Heights University. In addition to her teaching certificate, she holds an Administrator Certificate for Central Office and Elementary Administration. In his nomination that he dictated to a teacher, he thanked her for encouraging him to do his very best. "I'm so happy that you're at Michener School," he said. "You always helped me if I was stuck on a word." Cheryl Cook is a paraprofessional at Michener Elementary School, where she works in the lunchroom, on the playground, and as a helper in the first grade classroom. She joined the Michener team in 2004. Mrs. Cook was nominated by Marcus Johnson, a first grade student whom she has helped with assignments, inspired to do his best, and even repaired a stuffed animal that he brought for show and tell. In his nomination that he dictated to a teacher, he thanked her for encouraging him to do his very best. "I'm so happy that you're at Michener School," he said. "You always helped me if I was stuck on a word." Teachers praised her for being able to anticipate student needs without direction and being self-motivated in looking for ways to help in the classroom. Mrs. Cook helps students who need extra support with activity transitions and also regularly skips her afternoon break time in favor of playing board games or coloring with small groups of students during their afternoon recess time, saying that she prefers spending as much time with the children as possible. She is also known for her ability to calm situations and encourage all students to work on presenting a positive attitude. She helps behind the scenes with school supplies and even supplies basic needs items that students may not have at home. She has repaired stuffed animals, treated chapped skin, and tied shoelaces. She helps with hard math during quiet time. One student in support of her nomination said, "She loves Mrs. Cook to the moon and back." Letters of support from Michener teachers call her approach sacrificial, faithful, and joyful. Although she is soft-spoken, her commitment and actions in the classroom speak loudly of her passion for children. Humbled by this recognition, Mrs. Cook says that her life focus has been to serve God, her family, and others. She has been married to Michael Cook for 34 years, and they have 2 children who are both graduates of Adrian High School. She has 4 grandchildren, of whom she is very proud. She's like one of those teachers you can really relate to, one student says of AMS 7-8 science instructor Danae Hartung. He adds, "Her hands-on teaching is the best." Ms. Hartung is a longtime science and project lead the way instructor at AMS 7-8. Students say that her style of teaching is what has engaged them in science and even caused them to consider the field as a career. Her organizational and communication skills are recognized as classroom assets and also as key among her peers. Ms. Hartung's nomination applauded her for being a very organized teacher. A longtime substitute teacher in her classroom said, "There was never a time I stepped into her classroom that I didn't feel fully prepared to teach the subject matter for the day." Her devotion to preparation time for her classes allows students to never miss a beat. She was acknowledged for her devotion to keeping up with the latest teaching techniques relating to science instruction. Her passion for science ignites the same passion in students, say AMS 7-8 colleagues. She has formed several clubs outside the classroom to encourage students to learn more about science and explore its theories and principles. She is also a mentor and committed to help students learn. Students spend time at lunch or after school in her classroom where she is available to help with homework. In a letter of support for Mrs. Hartung, AHS 10th grader Devin Daniels says that until she met Miss Hartung, she had no idea of what she wanted to do in a career. Now she wants to pursue either mechanical or architectural engineering. Being introduced to building model rockets, bridges, and race cars got her hooked. So much so, she and her grandfather continue to build model rockets together. Miss Hartung, a 1981 alum of Adrian High School, began her teaching career at APS in 1985 as an elementary school teacher. She has been teaching at AMS 7-8 for 10 years. She is a graduate of Adrian College with a Bachelor of Arts degree and holds a master's degree in the art of teaching from Marygrove College. She is trained in Project Lead the Way and the Michigan Department of Transportation Civil Engineering for Teachers program. Mrs. Hartung has served on the Science, Technology, Engineering, and Math STEM Committee with the Lenawee Intermediate School District and other science committees within the Adrian School District. A graduate of the Adrian High School class of 1962, Sergeant Major William Cowell, 62, is recognized for his service to country. It was after retirement where he played a role in preserving materials from a most controversial occurrence in modern history that many people find equally as fascinating. Bill spent his career in military intelligence, serving 30 years in the United States Army. He served as a counterintelligence special agent, intelligence analyst, and area intelligence specialist. Among his U.S. assignments were Fort Sheridan, Illinois, Fort Huachuca, Arizona, and Fort Meade, Maryland. Overseas, he was stationed in Korea, Vietnam, Germany, and Panama. Bill studied at the U.S. Army Intelligence School and the Defense Language Institute and graduated from the U.S. Army Sergeant's Major Academy. Bill's final Army assignment was as Sergeant Major, U.S. Army Operational Group, Fort Meade. Upon his retirement in 1995, Bill joined the Nixon Presidential Materials Staff with the National Archives and Records Administration, which eventually became part of the Richard Nixon Presidential Library and Museum. In a letter of support for Bill's nomination, U.S. Army Colonel, retired, Donald Ullman said, "Serving with Bill Cowell was one of the highlights of my military career. He set a shining example for our soldiers, and they flattered him by imitating him." Colonel Ullman also said that Bill was ahead of his time in respectfully welcoming women into military service as more and more women enlisted. He set a standard of acceptance for our female colleagues. Among his decorations are Legion of Merit, Bronze Star, Meritorious Service Medal, Army Recommendation Medal, and the Army Achievement Medal. He twice achieved the Archivist Special Achievement Award for his work with the Nixon tapes. He has been a major player in the digitization of the Nixon analog tapes as well as their public release. He was also a consultant on the attempt to recover the missing 18 minutes of audio on the Nixon White House tape. While serving in Korea, Bill met his wife of 45 years, Chung Song-suk, who learned the art of creating pastry from a world-renowned pastry chef. She had the honor of being President Gerald Ford's pastry chef during the 1976 Republican Convention, making all of his desserts. While serving in the U.S. Army Operational Group at Fort Meade in 1988, Bill was the highest-ranking enlisted officer in the unit. He was relied on to set the proper standard for enlisted men and was also charged with preparing the intelligence force from his unit to deploy during the First Gulf War. Some of the team had never seen active combat duty. Bill grew up in Adrian and attended St. John's Lutheran School, where he and many friends transferred to the Adrian Public Schools in the 8th grade. During his high school years, he served as manager of the football team. As a youngster, Bill won a contest which featured a trip to El Carnilla Ranch in Tucson, Arizona, where he learned roping tricks from a cowboy as a prize. He is a member of many organizations, including the Association of the U.S. Army, the Disabled American Veterans, and the Army Counterintelligence Corps Veterans. He's a member of the Alamo Scouts Association and the Pen Collectors of America, the Bola Tie Society of Arizona, he might be wearing one tonight, and the Association of Sound Collections. A passion for the world's people throughout has inspired the lifetime work of Leroy Hollenbeck, class of 1968. Leroy has been honored for his service to underprivileged people and cultures in countries throughout the world, beginning with the Peace Corps in the Philippines after college, then working with the United Nations on contract with the U.S. government, as well as with the private sector for 3 decades, and now serving as a CEO of the John Fawcett Foundation in Indonesia. Leroy has made a difference to many people who don't otherwise have advocates. Leroy joined the Peace Corps upon graduation from Michigan State University in 1972. He went on to the United Nations, where he held many assignments, including the director of the Asian and Pacific Center for Agricultural Engineering and Machinery in Beijing, China. He served on U.S. government contract as the Senior Economics Affairs Officer in Bogor, Indonesia. He was senior advisor to 3 successive governors of Indonesia's Aceh province. He was also senior advisor to the vice president of ExxonMobil's Public Affairs Department on a large oil and gas development project in East and Central Java. He was in Indonesia in 2004 and helped rebuild after the earthquake and tsunami, a dedication which spanned 4 years. This, he said to a friend, was the time when he knew his decision to enter the Peace Corps those many years ago was the right decision. His current work with the John Fawcett Foundation includes helping underprivileged obtain medical treatment and basic needs support, as well as literacy and numeracy projects. Specifically, his foundation is committed to sight restoration and blindness prevention in the villages of Bali. There are over 4 million blind people in Indonesia, and over 3 million of these are cataract blind, a condition which is curable in most cases. However, for most Indonesians, the cost of cataract operation is far beyond their financial capacity, and they remain blind throughout their lives, a burden to their families and communities. The foundation is committed to do as much as it can to eradicate curable blindness in Indonesia, and to this end, it is seeking funding to expand its very successful mobile eye clinic model to other economically disadvantaged areas of Indonesia. Leroy comes from a family with 3 brothers who also graduated from Adrian High School. In recognition of his high school career, Leroy was inducted into the Athletic Hall of Fame as a standout swimmer. He is also a member of the National Honor Society. Leroy holds a master's degree in agricultural and resources economics from the University of Hawaii and a bachelor's degree in resources development from Michigan State. Longtime Adrian resident and now retired Lenawee Department on Aging Director Tom McNaughton receives the Outstanding Alumni Award for Community Service. A graduate of the class of 1970, Tom's 31-year tenure, 24 years as director with the Department on Aging, changed outreach to the seniors of Lenawee County. He chaired the Older Adult Coalition, bringing together county agencies to promote independence for older adults. Making sure that seniors are treated with dignity and compassion, Tom grew the home-delivered meals, personal care, homemaker and transportation programs, helped establish Daybreak Adult Day services, and the Rake and Run to help older adults maintain their yards with help from volunteers in the fall. An avid runner, Tom estimates that he has logged more than 31,000 miles running various marathons and hundreds of 5K races throughout the country. He is an active member of the Lenawee Running Club, serves on the Hospice of Lenawee Director Bruce Jones Memorial Run Committee, has completed a number of marathons including the Boston and New York City, and is an assistant coach to the Adrian High School cross-country team. He organized the Crop Walk for 20 years and has helped with the Couch Potatoes, a group of runners transitioning from the couch to the trail. He helped to organize the YMCA Splash and Dash and the Art and Soul 5K and many other 5K races. He and his wife Christine host a New Year's Day run for friends, which finishes with a breakfast at their Adrian home. He is a graduate of Defiance College with a Bachelor of Science in Math and Education. His keen sense for math has given him success in many card games of chance, with an ability to count cards at any gambling table he visits. Of course, he counted cards before it was banned in the casinos and no longer practices the strategy. As a youngster, Tom served as Adrian College baseball team's bat boy and played drums in AHS band, where he served as an officer on the band council. He also played tennis. He is an adjunct faculty at Siena Heights University and has taught Introduction to Gerontology and programs for older adults. He has taught successful aging in the Lenawee Lifelong Learning Program. He's a board member of the YMCA of Lenawee County and past member of numerous other boards. He is married to Christine, and together they have received the Stubnitz Award and the Laura Haviland Award for commitment to the community. An advocate for early childhood education and passionate about the students she ultimately teaches, Marie Taleko Masterson is recognized for her dedication to education. Marie is a graduate of AHS class of 1973 and was nominated by her former high school orchestra teacher, Helen Bleeker. During high school, Marie was active in vocal, instrumental, and performing arts. She has served as president of the Concert Choir Council and acted in the high school musicals for all 4 years. Marie holds a PhD for education from Old Dominion University in Virginia and is associate professor of early childhood education at Dominion University, River Forest, Illinois. She is a national speaker, child behavior expert, researcher, and author of current articles published in Young Children and Childhood Education, linking research to practice in early childhood education. She is the co-author of 101 Principles for Positive Guidance with Young Children, Creating Responsive Teachers, and is authoring 2 additional books on responsive parenting and developmentally appropriate practice in family child care settings. Marie is a current Fulbright specialist and worked in conjunction with Mahidol University, Bangkok, Thailand in 2011 to establish an early childhood education training institute. She conducted research in Ethiopia during the summer of 2014 to develop a positive guidance and character training program entitled Empowering Children for Life. She speaks frequently on the human rights of children and the need for nonviolent child-rearing practices and protections in the United States and around the world. Marie serves on a number of state boards related to early childhood development and education, and is an active advocate on the behalf of children at risk. She is an educational consultant to state departments of education, schools, child care centers, and social service organizations, working to build high-quality classrooms and establish responsive, positive, instructional, and relational interactions that support achievement and school adjustment for all children. She is the former early childhood specialist for the Virginia Department of Education. Never losing her passion for music, Marie is a violinist, continues to be active in promoting the visual and performing arts and fostering creativity and innovation in education. She and her family are involved in humanitarian and Christian ministries, as well as international and governmental service, music, and the arts. Elizabeth Hutt-Pollard is the Chief Executive Officer of NewGen Technologies of San Carlos, California. NewGen is focused on developing and commercializing novel genomic sample preparation assays used by scientists and clinicians to prepare biological samples for genetics analysis. She is recognized tonight for her success in business, industry, and the life sciences. Upon graduation from Adrian High School in 1984, Elizabeth continued her education at Michigan State University, where she graduated with a bachelor degree in chemistry. She received her Master's of Science degree in Business Administration from Central Michigan University. Prior to making the decision to have a broader impact on medical research by transitioning into a career within the commercial biotechnology sector, Elizabeth was a research associate at the University of Michigan in the Department of Hematology and Oncology. Prior to joining NewGen, Elizabeth held management positions with Tripos Incorporated, a software and combinatorial chemistry leader, U.S. and European management positions with Affymetrix Incorporated, the Gene Chip Company, and spent nearly a decade in sales, marketing, and channel management within the molecular biology, human fertility, and cell culture research and production businesses at Life Technologies Incorporated. She joined NewGen in 2004, where she has provided involved leadership throughout the growth and expansion of the company, including implementation of world-class quality systems to support their research and diagnostic markets. Committed to advancing the life sciences, Elizabeth's oversight of NewGen includes the development of products that enable researchers and clinicians who seek to discover genetic signatures and predict disease risk and drug response, potentially shortening the path to treatment in important areas such as cancer. During high school, Elizabeth was active in several clubs, including the Biology Club, where she served as treasurer, the Latin Club, and Physics Freaks. She was a member of the National Honor Society and a violinist with the orchestra, where she served as treasurer for the Orchestra Council her senior year. She is passionate about public education and chairs the steering committee for the Adrian School's Educational Foundation Endowment Campaign. In addition, she has been integral in sponsoring a genomics boot camp for Adrian High students, exposing them to cutting-edge laboratory techniques and life science careers in Silicon Valley. Through NewGen, she also supports the Meritus Foundation by providing internships to underprivileged students. Elizabeth is active in Young Presidents Organization, YPO, where she has served as membership chair for the Golden Gate chapter and was recognized with an award by YPO International for outstanding leadership in membership diversity. She is married to her best friend Dennis, a pastor at Grace Covenant Church in South San Francisco.